Hey YouTube, Freedom for Kaz coming at you. Hey, how's everyone doing out there? Hey, I just want to thank everyone for the great comments on my videos, especially the Kaz vs. Wild series. That series is doing very, very well. And since posting that series, my channel has been promoted twice. And I want to give a big thank you to a couple of YouTube subscribers to my channel that have promoted my channel. I think that's awesome, and I am just totally honored that these folks think that my videos are that great. I'd like to thank He Felt Bad and the Indoctrination. These guys have promoted my channel, and I really want to say thank you so very much to these folks. They are really good friends of mine, and I appreciate everything that they've done for me, especially promoting my channel. The Kaz vs. Wild series is in a playlist, and if you haven't seen all the videos, you can go to my channel and click on my playlist, and you can view all the videos there. Now, what the videos are is obviously they're about me practicing survival, a little bit of bugging out, and rustic camping. So, again, I want to thank everyone for the comments, but I really want to thank those two folks, He Felt Bad and the Indoctrination, again, for promoting my channel. Thank you. Now, today's video, let's get to it. Today's video is going to be about the H1N1 and vaccines as well. And I'm going to be talking about a GE fish as well, which, you know, as we know, means danger. But anyway, here we go. I want to talk about a channel about some wonderful ladies called the Truthergirls, and they do a fantastic job when it comes to vaccines, the H1N1, the H5N1, and other vaccines as well. They bring a lot of information to the top and a lot of things that a lot of people don't hear on the mainstream media due to the fact that Big Pharma likes to make money, and the mainstream media won't cover the whole idea of what can really go wrong with these vaccines. I mean, granted, you know, a lot of people get the vaccines and they don't realize what's happening to their bodies, but when it happens to you and something goes wrong, it's a big, big deal. So, again, let's just get right to it. But anyway, this first video that's going to be underneath is the H1N1 vaccine miscarriage update by the Truthergirls. This is a great video, and it has a lot of great information in it as well. I have it favorited to my channel, and I just want to pass the information along. Again, this talks about the problems with the H1N1 and how it's linked to the fetal demise, and also it also talks about what it can do to the fetal disformations of their body. So it's a huge video. Again, I encourage everyone to check it out. One of the other videos that they do is the Rotavirus vaccine in Canada. And this vaccine, I don't know as much about it as the H1N1, but I did watch the video that's going to be underneath as well. And again, just some great information. And, you know, some of these things can be avoided just by simply breastfeeding your children for an extended period of time. I mean, here in the United States, I know they talk about breastfeeding your children for 6 weeks, but I know there are some families who breastfeed for much, much longer, and I really applaud those people. You really should, because the nourishment that comes from breast milk is far and above anything else that you can get that's genetically approved by the FDA or our government. I mean, breast milk is very, very good, and I encourage moms to really do that if you can. I know sometimes complications arise and you can't do that, but again, I just want to point out that the Truthergirls do a great job on these videos. Now, I found this on Fox News. It's called A Man's Guide to the Flu Shot, and there's some information that's in here that I found really, really kind of interesting. It says here the flu vaccine is 70 to 90% effective preventing the flu in healthy adult males. It is still possible to contract the flu after immunization, but typically those who have been vaccinated develop a much milder case of the flu. Well, if you're going to get the flu one way or another, you're going to miss work and you're going to miss time from work. So I don't understand what the point of getting the H1N1 shot for. You know, it has so many side effects that they won't tell you about. Now, it just seems kind of weird how they go ahead and they talk about that, and there's still a chance that you're going to get this flu. Well, then what's the point of getting the vaccine then? There are greater side effects from the H1N1 vaccine than you would come to think, first off and foremost. Okay, moving on to the second part of this video. I don't know if you guys have heard, but there is a new GE fish that is coming out, and it is called a Frankenfish. Okay, and I'm gonna show you this right here. And what this is, okay, and it says, the FDA hearings go swimming for Frankenfish. Okay, well, what this Frankenfish is, it's a GE fish, which means genetically engineered. Okay, folks, what's going on here with this GE fish is that if you read this starting from right here, okay, it says, the AquAdvantage Salmon was created by inserting the coding sequence from a Chinook salmon growth hormone gene under the control of the ocean pout gene into wild Atlantic salmon. The resulting fish grows twice as fast as a wild Atlantic salmon, reaching its full size in 18 months as opposed to 3 years. And then going on to the next paragraph here, it says, though the fish, all female, are 95 to 99% sterile, the Boston-based AquaBounty Technologies, its developer, says eggs will be grown on a Prince Edward Island in Canada and adults in Panama because of the respective marine environments discourage survival of escapees. Now, essentially what they're saying here is the reason why that these things won't mate or they won't reproduce is because scientists have gone inside the genealogical work of the fish and they have literally shut down the sex hormones and the sex organs of these fish, and they've redirected the energy that allows those items to grow. They've redirected those into the fish. So instead of reproducing genitalia, that energy that goes into growing the genitalia is now been directed into growing the fish. So these fish, they grow without sex organs. Okay? Only 5 to 1% have sex organs, and they only did this to the female fish. They did it to very, very, very few males because mainly what they want is they just want the eggs to reproduce this fish. And they only need several males to spawn all the eggs. So 95% of the fish are female. And this is what is the problem, okay? And if we go to this next page here, I will actually show you. It says, it gives a graph on the growth rate of this fish, okay? So now we have this line right here is the normal lifespan of the salmon that they're working with. This graph here shows the GE fish and how fast it grows in less time. Okay, so this line here is about 850 feedings and it weighs about 4,000 grams. This line here is about 700 feedings and is about 6,000 grams. So they harvest these fish after only 18 months. Okay, but here again, we're talking about side effects. We don't know what's going to happen with these fish when they're consumed. We don't know what's going to happen to the humans or even what they did to modify these fish, which is kind of scary. I'm sure as I do further research and find out exactly what happened to these fish and exactly how they did this, if they reveal that information, I will let you know. I personally haven't found any reason as to believe that these fish are healthy, again, because of what they're doing to these fish. Now, these fish are all farm grown. So, again, we don't know what they're feeding them. Are they feeding them steroids? What are they feeding them? Okay, but these aren't going to be released into the wild, and it's kind of scary to think that they would go in there and tap into all this information and change these fish. And obviously, the only thing that they're doing it for is for mere profit. I mean, I don't understand why all of a sudden that we need all this seafood genetically engineered. You know, it's just like with the produce, and it's just like with everything else that we're eating. Okay, you know, we're getting our hands into all these things, and eventually, you know, it's very, very rare that when the government does something, it ends up being for the better of something. Usually, when they do something, it gets all screwed up and ends up being bad. So, I just want to, you know, bring forward what's going on with our government and what they're doing here. And one thing I want to do is I want to read you the mission statement from the company. And AquaBounty Technologies is the company that is doing this. Okay, so here is the mission statement from the company. It says, "Our mission is to play a significant part in the blue revolution, bringing together biological sciences and molecular technology to enable the aquaculture industry to capable of large-scale, efficient, environmentally sustainable production of high-quality seafood, increase growth rates, enhance resistance to disease, better food conversion rates, manageable breeding cycles, and more efficient use of aquatic production systems are all important components of a sustainable aquaculture industry for the future." This is kind of scary, people. It really is. I mean, you know, we're going into this system of just totally changing the genes of these fish, and they've nicknamed it the Frankenfish. And the reason why they call it Frankenfish is because they're comparing it to, obviously, the fictional character of Frankenstein.